everyone, it's Lindsay with High Altitude Astrology, and I am bringing you the chart of the new moon in Aries that's happening on April 1st, 2022 at 12:24 a.m. Mountain Daylight Time. And I have the chart pulled up on the screen. And as you can see, the new moon is right here in the sign of Aries, and the new moon is when the sun and the moon are conjunct. They will be at 11 degrees, 30 minutes of Aries at this new moon time. And new moons are always seed planting times, beginning times, and they happen once a month. And every month they happen in a different sign. And this time it's in the sign of Aries, and Aries is the symbol of springtime. It is about bursting forth with that, Aries ram charging nature, moving ahead, having courage, having strength, physical strength, but also strength of will. It's a very active energy. It is a fire energy, so it's filled with inspiration, and it's also cardinal, so it's very directed in its intention. So to have a new moon in Aries, meaning the sun and the moon being together in this sign at this time, is symbolizing that this new moon is going to be a time of reconnecting with our own internal spark of wanting to self-assert, wanting to have courage, wanting to assert ourselves, having drive. And so it's really a positive new moon time in that regard. And what's interesting about this new moon is that it sits very close to Chiron, which is the K with a circle below it. And Chiron in astrology is an asteroid, but it's symbolic of what's called the wounded healer. And the wounded healer, the story is about a centaur who named Chiron, who sort of broke away from his clan and learned how to heal himself through studying various techniques and starting to apply them to himself, and then ultimately be able to do that for others. So there's something about this new moon time that's bringing up some kind of opportunity for us to move past the woundedness, which is part of Chiron, having a wound. In this case, it's the wound of self-assertion, because that's what Aries is all about. But this new moon time is saying that there's an opportunity here to move beyond the wound and learn how to assert again in a healthy way. And I wanted to read something from a book that I have called Chiron, Healing Body and Soul. And the first thing that I want to talk about is what it means to have Chiron and the sun together in a chart. Because the sun is the identity, it's expressing the vitality, the creativity of who we are. But it's sitting next to the wounded healer in this chart. So when you have the sun and the Chiron together, in this book they say, it talks about healing the wound of fear of self-expression. Chiron's gift and message as expressed through its conjunction with the sun. As one would expect, this Chiron sun aspect has its own difficulties and challenges because we cannot help expressing our woundedness. The healing side can and will be expressed or manifest if we attend consciously and intentionally to our wounds and issues. So that's a little bit about the sun and Chiron together in a chart. And what I feel when I'm reading that is that there's something about this new moon that's sort of going to be challenging our ability to self-express. And it's saying that what needs to be done is that we have to consciously and intentionally attend to our wounds. So what might this look like with Sun conjunct Chiron in Aries? Becoming aware of where we may feel we hold ourselves back, where we may feel that we're not self-expressing, going after what it is we want, or whatever that is, that what we want might be having to say no, or having to make a change. But this is the Sun Chiron awareness that has to be reached in order to be able to then be able to heal and be able to move forward in a healthy manner in our lives, no longer being affected by the wound. And I want to discuss what the wound in Aries is about, because that's the sign that we find Chiron in at this new moon time, as well as the sun and the moon. And again, from the same book, it talks about the Chiron in Aries wound as feeling a profound lack or loss of self-worth, a core feeling of worthlessness, unworthiness, and even undeservingness of life itself. Self-denial, a feeling of not being wanted, needed, or useful, a feeling of being uncentered, unfocused, and or lacking clarity and solidity. And it talks about the search is the search for self, for identity. And it talks about how the wound can be expressed. We seek to please others, we're self-sacrificing, we're sabotaging ourselves, giving away our power to others, failing to stand up for ourselves, being afraid to take a stand, and even just meandering through life, influenced by the slightest change of atmosphere or energy. And then it talks about ways that we can escape the wound, trying to rescue others who also lack self-worth, retreating from conflict, confrontation, and challenge, and or avoiding circumstances and situations where taking a stand or expressing our opinion is required. And then it talks about how the healing path is to understand that the people we try to please, rescue, etc., will ever mirror our true worth, ever encourage us to discover, acknowledge, embrace, and ultimately love ourselves and our unique gifts. And we will ultimately fight back against any self-depreciation and against its reflection in the outside world, against others putting us down. And when enough is enough, we will stand up and affirm our true worth. And finally, the gift, the realization of the indestructibility of spirit despite the transience of form, the acknowledgement of the divine within us, the growth of presence and spiritual solidity, and the sharing of this by our mere presence, true self-love and positive ego. The ability to remain firmly but gently in our own space despite the opinions and actions of others. So this new moon really has the potential to be quite healing. I mean, that's what Chiron's all about. And again, the new moon is the seed planting time. So what we will do is then kind of watch as this energy kind of develops and forms over the next couple of weeks until we get to the next full moon. But that's the main point of this new moon, really. I'd also like to point out that Mercury is now in the sign of Aries. Mercury, the ruler of communication and thinking and logic. So it was in Pisces for quite a while. So it's now in Aries as of the 27th of March. And so this is really going to help bolster us at this new moon time to be able to start to maybe sort out what hadn't felt very clear when Mercury had been in Pisces for that length of time. And also what we're having is this Jupiter-Neptune coming up. And that exact conjunction is going to occur on April 12th. So really a little bit closer to the full moon that's going to happen in Libra on the 16th. But we will be, feeling the beginnings of this growing. And what Jupiter and Pisces has to tell us in this scenario is that, especially in the sign of Pisces, is that we really can trust our intuition, that we really have that available to us as a guide, as a way to kind of help us navigate through these next couple of weeks as the new moon is growing. Because Jupiter is all about philosophical perspective, growth, expansion. It's very comfortable in Pisces because it's the old ruler of Pisces. And Neptune is about feeling, sensing, imagination, intuition. So these are very spiritual energies, Jupiter and Neptune. So not only is it suggesting that we have our intuition to be able to tap into, but this is an extremely spiritual energy, especially in the sign of Pisces, allowing us to accept and to transcend difficulty, any kind of feelings of, again, going back to the whole Chiron sun new moon time, feelings of being not enough, that kind of thing. This energy allows us to see a bigger picture, a more transcendental perspective, to step back from identifying so much with life and allowing more of a flow, a let go, energy that we can call upon as we might be facing healing at this time. And finally, the last thing I'll point out about the chart is that it also has a growing conjunction between Mars and Saturn in Aquarius. And Mars is how we take action, and Saturn is about really discipline, effort, doing what needs to be done. And so in Aquarius, this gives us, again, more of a detached perspective because Aquarius is air energy, and it's very decisive. So I feel that this conjunction on the 4th, that's going to be happening a few days after the new moon, this too is going to help us, really take action, authoritative action, that's Saturn, personal authority, in a very decisive way that takes some of the emotion out of things so that we can perhaps, make decisions or take actions towards any, things that are developing around this new moon energy, any of these, again, because the whole idea of the new moon is beginnings, it's birthings, and it's all around asserting ourselves. And again, it's going to involve some kind of healing that's happening. So this Mars-Saturn will just be giving us a little bit of solidity at this time so that we can, in fact, move towards these, in these new directions that may be required. And let's remember, Mars is the ruler of Aries. So the sun and the moon, the new moon in Aries is ruled by this Mars. And Mars is sitting here very close to Saturn. So that's going to help us make some, in a sense, tough calls if that has to be done at this new moon time or, over the next couple of weeks as the moon is growing. And I wanted to just end this video with picking a card from the Voyager Tarot deck, Jimmy Wandless, asking for some insight around this new moon energy. What can help support us as we are moving into this new moon time? And the card is Fulfilment. And that's really interesting to me because, Aries, in some ways, it is about the self. It's that energy of bursting forth at springtime, going after what we want. That is very Aries, the ram charging. So this is saying that what supports us is realizing that we want to feel fulfillment in whatever, form that is. And that is not selfish. That is our birthright. We don't need to be that wounded Aries energy where we're self-sacrificing all the time, where we are putting others first in a way that really takes from us, that doesn't fulfill us. We are allowed to feel fulfillment. And I want to read a little bit about this card. It's the Nine of Cups. Fulfillment is the state of emotional satisfaction and contentment, the many and full glasses that comes with completion and achievement. This harvest, symbolized by wine from grapes, nectar from fruit, and flowers from seeds. It is the result of realizing and fulfilling your inner riches and talents, the pearls within you. The drinking glass filled with spirits are the recognition of your work and celebration of your harvest. You drink to your achievement. It's the result of realizing and fulfilling your inner riches and talents. Yeah, I mean, really what this is saying, going back to what the new moon in Aries is about, is that it's about expressing who you are, tapping into your talents, tapping into how you want to be out in the world. And again, working with the healing aspect of whatever might be lingering there, holding us back, and healing from that and allowing ourselves to really step fully into ourself, the expression of who we are meant to be, and to allow that to shine and radiate from within us, beginning at this new moon time. Thank you so much for watching. If you like my channel, please subscribe, and I will see you at the next video. Thank you so much. Take care.